Hi, welcome back to Crimson Glass on YouTube. It is April 19th, which makes it the 19th day of Camp NaNoWriMo. And I think I filmed something on Friday telling you guys where Mad World was. And that we were hopefully getting back into the alpha draft on the 20th. That is the plan. I did not quite entirely finish my chapter breakdown. I know anybody who is familiar with how the last 6 videos have gone, not having a chapter breakdown doesn't actually worry me in this case because of how I wrote my synopsis. I created folders for every kind of beat of the story, and I filled them all out. I just haven't individually broken down chapters. And I think it's because one of the things that happens when you move from the plan for the chapter to an actual chapter is the story you want to tell within a chapter. So chapters are really different for every author. Some authors do a scene per chapter. Some authors they try to hit a particular word count. They try to hit a page count. They have different ideas of what it is. And at the end of the day, it's just a piece of the story. So it's just, how are you telling your story? So for me, the way that I see my chapters almost all of the time is because I am writing soap opera fan fiction, I kind of see them as their own individual episode. And so they kind of have to have a start and a beginning. They have to kind of either end, if they're going to end on a cliffhanger, it actually has to be a cliffhanger. I usually try to set, it's like everything that would happen on this day for these stories. And occasionally I'll have a couple of chapters set on the same day. It's kind of rare for me because of just the way that I tell my stories. My stories are usually more drawn out. They're not usually compressed. But I think of a story like Mad World, book 1, was 19 chapters and it was only a week long. So a lot of it was literally from chapter 10 through 19, I think it's like 4 days. It's a lot more compressed. And then you look at A Few Words Too Many, which starts in April of 2003, right? Yeah, and then ends in January 2004, and it's only 24 chapters. The Best Thing is it's about a year, and that's 34 chapters, so it's kind of more drawn out. So it's just, what is a chapter and what are you doing with it? So when I start to break down my chapters, as long as I know what's happening from point to point to point and I have individual ideas, I'm not so mad about not having a complete chapter breakdown. The only reason I would love to have the nice thing about having a chapter breakdown is that you have a soundtrack, and I still don't have a full one, but I have enough for one that I'm okay. What is different this time is I have an ending. I know where my subplots are going. I have figured out what needs to happen in my subplots at midpoints and anchor, what needs to be happening in the subplots at the same time as what's happening in the main story, so that I have written that out in my chapters, so that I have a good idea of what needs to happen at every moment in the story. And I think that that is a comfortable place that's a good compromise to make between having every single thing figured out and then in some ways just letting the story flow. Because scenes change and chapters change. I was just editing a chapter of Broken Girl, which is initially, when I planned it, when I created the text documents in Scrivener, it was 4 scenes, and now it's 8. But what I did was I took some of those scenes and broke them up and created an episode where, we cut to something else and we keep cutting back and forth. I don't just have all one thing happen and then you move on to the next thing. It's like a way of creating tension. And that's not something you can necessarily predict when you're doing your planning, is where you're going to want that tension, because, you don't really plan your dialogue. So that's kind of where I am. I did a couple of parts in my chapter breakdown. I broke down the first 11 chapters, so that's great. Today I'm going to work on the soundtrack for them. I have the first couple of songs because I was able to repurpose some of the ones I need for my first alpha draft version. But some of them just didn't fit anymore that's good. It means I have changed the story and I've changed the tone and I've adjusted it enough that it's not going to feel like I'm just trying to retread. And it already feels different. The only stuff I'm really going to be able to use from the first go at it is the prologue. I just have to edit some pieces out and add some stuff to it. So it's not going to be a prologue anymore. It will be the first chapter. So I am in good shape to go into alpha draft tomorrow. I have a ton to do today. It is currently 7:28. I have another video or 2 to film, and then I have to go grocery shopping because my grocery store opens at 7 on Sundays, and they have the first hour for elderly people. And I need to kind of there's a couple of things I need to do that I have to leave the house today, so I'm a little nervous about that. I have masks, I'm good. I have gas in my car. I have to drop something off at FedEx because that's my life now, and the closest one is in Belmore, which is 10 minutes away. It's fine. So I have a ton to do today because it's my last day of spring break and I have to go get myself ready for school tomorrow. I have to film videos for remote learning because my life would be a lot easier if I could just go to work tomorrow, but unfortunately we are still home and we're home for another month at this point. I have to film all those videos and I have to put all that content together. Most of it's together, but it still needs to be like coalesced and sent out to the kids. And put on Google Classroom and all that good stuff. It just needs to be finalized. And I still have to do Broken Girl. So I'm filming my other video about Broken Girl, but like that, I have set a deadline of Wednesday or Thursday to finish the beta draft because it's coming out May 4th. I've started my promotional stuff. So like I've hit a hard date with that. So Mad World, the first week of alpha draft is I am not shooting for a chapter a day. I'm shooting for anywhere from 1 scene to 2 scenes. I am not killing myself to get off the, like, Camp NaNoWriMo is a state of mind and I'm okay with not finishing it. It's more of just getting it going and making sure that I am in position to finish it by June 15th, which is my hard date. All right, so that is your Camp NaNoWriMo for the day. It's just talking about chapters and how I approach them and what goes into planning a chapter. And there's so much more than what goes into that. And I think I'll try and talk about that at the next one. Have a great day. Bye.